Your time has come, boy. Oh no, it's the Grim Yama. No, I'm not ready to go yet. Please don't let him take me. There's something important that I must do first. Do you think yourself as Markandeya? Do you think the Lord himself will show up and save you? What significance do you think you hold in his grand game? What important work that you must do? Well, now that you asked, I gotta make Hindu Guy Reacts to Mythology Guy Part 3. Oh! That! You know what? That does sound important. Go do that. I'll come back for you later, I guess. Well, this isn't exactly Markandeya, but it's way better than the book I wrote about him. Remember the 22nd of November. Cause that's when Hindu Guy reacts to the phenomenal Mythology Guy's Hindu sketches. And before we get started, here's a quick intro of me. Hi, my name is Kapil Dev. I'm a Hindu Tamil Sri Lankan in Sri Lanka. I studied Hinduism in school from grade 1 to 11 because it was mandatory. And this is made for entertainment purposes, but I will be sharing my personal cultural knowledge. So let's get started.
That's my intro?
You guys, I just had the worst date ever, okay? This girl told me she was into mythology, okay? And then she gets all weirded out when I go into an in-depth analysis comparing the 9 circles of hell to the 28 realms of Naraka. Okay, sorry I'm passionate, alright? I mean, she had no knowledge of how the Tuatha De Danann defeated the Fomorians. She'd never even heard of Momotaro. She got uncomfortable discussing Aztec sacrificial practice. And for God's sake, she kept saying Hercules instead of Heracles. Like, what are we supposed to talk about? Your family? You want me to learn the names of your parents when you can't even name the avatars of Vishnu? You think it's not important? It's gonna be when the Kali Yuga begins. Bitches, man. 28 realms of Naraka.
I think he's talking about Naragam, which is the Hindu hell in Hindu mythology. So this is a great time to talk about the Hindu afterlife.
In the afterlife.
So Hinduism does have heaven and hell. Naragam is hell and Sorgam is heaven. They are both connected to Yama's realm, which is Yamalogam. And when you die, you would go to Yamalogam, where you would meet, Yama and his assistant Chitrahuptanar, who has all of your life recorded in his book, the good and the bad, and they would calculate and compare, and they would either send you off to hell or heaven, Sorgam or Naragam. But the good thing is, you're not there forever, okay? You're only there to pay your dues. Basically, you would suffer hell as much as you've done bad. You would enjoy heaven as much as you've done good. It's a math calculation thing. Chitrahuptanar is like Yama's assistant. He's like the accountant of the afterlife who kept all your deeds that you did in life. And again, you're not staying there forever. After you're done, it's not considered to be a punishment type of thing. It's more like soul purification. But I'm pretty sure the soul is being happily purified in Sorgam, which is heaven, rather than in Naragam, which is hell. But then after you've suffered or enjoyed for all the deeds that you've done, you would then be reincarnated. They'll start the cycle of reincarnation again, and then you would come back after you die in that next life, and then, redo the process until you complete the whole thing, and you finally achieve moksha. If this sounds very familiar to you, you might have seen the sitcom called The Good Place. They basically borrowed a lot from Hindu mythology. The whole accountant thing who, keeps record of your life, all the good stuff and the bad stuff that you do. That's Chitrahuptanar, okay? That is exactly Chitrahuptanar. He's there with the book, like counting all the stuff that you did in your life. And also, the solution that they bring up in the end of the sitcom where, they figure out a good system for the afterlife. They basically, use the Hinduism system.
When I started in Michael's first neighborhood, I was nothing more than a Palm Pilot in a cool vest. But look at me now. I can hold 4 humans in my void and conjure Timothy Oliphant in the blink of an eye. Getting rebooted over and over made me a better, not a person than I've ever been. Humans should get the same opportunity.
So yeah, they borrowed heavily from Hindu mythology and they didn't even mention anything about it.
Geez, give me some credit.
So we don't really focus much on this. I think this is whole thing from Garuda Puranam, but we don't really focus much on this in the studies. We mainly talk about Moksha, but we don't really talk about the other stuff in the afterlife. We don't really focus on it, but I think it is acknowledged.
Acknowledged.
There's something I always wondered about Hindu avatars. See, sometimes in Hinduism, the powerful gods like Vishnu and Shiva want to come down to Earth for certain reasons, but apparently they can't come down to Earth in their full godly forms, I guess because that's too powerful. So they take on mortal forms instead, which is interesting, but the weird thing is, it doesn't seem like anything changes when they take on their mortal forms. Like, Vishnu's avatar Krishna was able to balance an entire mountain on his pinky when he was just a child, and his avatar Vamana was able to grow so large he inhabited literally the entire universe. If they still have access to that kind of power, what are they giving up when they become mortal? Like, they still seem like gods. In fact, a lot of people worship Krishna as a god, even though the whole point of Krishna was to live as a mortal. So, what even changes in between? Any ideas?
I don't think the point of Krishna was to live as a mortal. I think Raman was much more of a mortal than Krishna ever was. Because Raman mostly, constricts himself to superpowered archery, which, other mythology characters can do as well. And he's very subtle about it as well. While Krishna is a full-blown eldritch cosmic horror.
Phenomenal cosmic powers!
I mean, when he was a child, his foster mom, Yashoda, saw the entire cosmos inside his mouth. And he blocked the sun with his Sudarsana Chakra. He simply just does these things. And the bad guys still think they have a fighting chance against him.
We can take him.
He does do playful schemes, and when he's doing that, he does make it about a game of wits. But the problem is, you're still trying to outwit a full-blown cosmic divine entity who can Bugs Bunny his way out of the situation anytime he wants.
The idea in draw poker is for you to try to get a bigger hand than I got. So, I deal 5 cards to each of us, and we choose the best ones and draw some more cards, and whoever has the biggest hand wins. He wins, see? Cut it out, cancer!
So I don't think the point about them giving up their powers is a thing, because, they could do whatever they want when they want to.
I just do things.
See, this is why you can't animate power scale Hindu gods. They may be the ones who invented the overpowered protagonist trope in the first place. Avatars that Vishnu portrays when he comes down to earth are an easier way that you get to know his true divinity, which is Vishnu. So by praying to Krishna or Rama or whatever avatar that you favor, you're still, praying to Vishnu. You're just, getting to Vishnu by, through the other avatars of him.
I am them and they are me.
Where do baby gods come from? Vishnu came out of Shiva's ankle, and then Shiva came out of Vishnu's eyebrows.
What?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
How do I not know about this?
So the birth of the Tirumurtigal, which is a very touchy subject, I'm going to say. And also it may differ to what sort of version of Hinduism that you are raised in or what you believe in. So as a Saiva, which is a version of Hinduism that puts much emphasis on Lord Shiva, who we call as Siva Peruman in Tamil, in our version, just Lord Shiva does not have an origin story. He does not have a birthday story. He avar adiyum andamum illadavar. Basically means he does not have a beginning, neither an end. Adi means beginning, Andam means end. He does not have neither of them. He is as eternal as the infinite void. Not only that, Lord Shiva's avatars or his aspects don't have birthday stories either.
No birthday! No!
What I mean by that is, like, if you look at Vishnu's avatars, like, Krishna or Rama, they were born to people, they had a childhood, they had a life. That does not happen to Lord Shiva's avatars or his aspects. He was never born to someone, he never has a childhood and stuff like that. That really doesn't happen to Lord Shiva, at least according to us, the Saivas.
How old are you?
As old as God. Maybe older. Neither of us can remember anymore. Life, death, chicken, egg. Regardless, at the end, I'll reap him too.
God? You'll reap God?
Oh, yes. God will die too, Dean.
Where do baby gods come from? Shiva told the fire to put his cum in a river.
I mean, where else would you put it? Inside a woman? Ha! You mortals, that's not how you make gods.
My parents told me that.
What? Oh, no. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it didn't sound right to me either.
Okay, Karthikeyan, who we Tamils like to call Murugan, the Hindu god of war, victory, youthfulness, and also the god of the Tamil people. So he is very special to us Tamils. He is our patron god and our language, which is our ethnic identity. The one thing about the Tamils I want to say is that we are very, very conservative. I'm going to say South Asian culture in general is very conservative, but we Tamils are a special bunch.
Snobs!
Focus more on the spiritual side of things and the purity side of gods, and they stopped, referring to more human-like stuff that they do, specifically sexual things.
No, I can't be bothered with that. I have no time for that sort of nonsense.
So to be perfectly clear, in the story that is widely known, there was no biomatter involved in the birth of Murugan. Lord Shiva opened his third eye and 6 sparks of divine flame came out, and they fell in the river and became 6 babies. They were cared for by the Karthikeyan girls, star maiden nannies, up until the point where Uma Deviyar, who's also known as Parvati, Lord Shiva's wife, she came and hugged all 6 children together, and in that one big group hug, they became one child with 6 heads and 12 arms. I get the mythology guy's funny innuendo, it's a joke, no harm done, but one detail is that Agni's role is not widely known. Even I didn't know it. But I did see in Wikipedia that Agni was the one who carried the flames at least until he dropped it. But this is not the story that is widely known, and how accepted that is, I don't know. Like I said before, Lord Murugan is very important to us Tamils. Even in Sri Lanka, one of the biggest temples that we have in the country is Nellur, which is a Murugan temple. And the temple's festival is one of the biggest events in the country. People from all over the world travel there to, the people who are devotees of Murugan come for that festival. And I was actually there this year and I got this, which is a tiny Kandasashti Kavasam. The Kandasashti Kavasam is what you sing to Lord Murugan to get his blessings and protection. And I used to sing this every day before I went to school. It's about 20 pages here, and yeah, it's a lot, guys, and I used to sing all of it before I went to school. And this was not a mandatory thing. This is something that I did. It was mandatory for us during Fridays to sing the Siva Pranam. We did that every Friday, but Kandasashti Kavasam is usually sung around Kandasashti Viradam period, which was November, which it's now ended. And there's also Thaipusam and also, Murugan temple festivals. And yeah, but I used to sing that every day. So once upon a time, I was a Murugan kid.
What? What am I supposed to do with that information?
So here's a mythical creature who's got a lot to say. The Vitala from Hindu culture. The Vitala is said to be the Hindu version of the vampire. It's a malevolent entity that possesses and reanimates corpses, and also apparently hangs upside down from trees. An evil Vitala is said to cause miscarriages, drive people insane, even kill children. Well, I guess you could say the miscarriage is already a form of... No, we're not having that debate. But there are some people who actually see Vitala as wise protectors, and even stories of people who try to capture them to make use of their wisdom. Like, there's one story where a sorcerer asks a king to hunt down a Vitala, but the Vitala manages to get away by telling the king a story each time to throw him off. And after this happens 24 times, the Vitala reveals to the king that the sorcerer was actually the bad guy. Not sure why he didn't just do that the first time. Maybe he wanted someone to talk to.
When I first saw the sketch, I got confused when he said Vitala, but when it got to the bit where he's, hanging upside down from trees, I knew what he was talking about. He's actually talking about the Vedalam. That's how it's pronounced in Tamil. A quick Tamil language lesson: there is no t in the Tamil sounds. There's a d, there's a th, there's also a t, but no t. There's no t. That's not a thing in Tamil. And also, in Tamil language, we have specific letters for each sound that we use, and it is spelled as it sounds. So there's no spelling problems in Tamil. All you have to do is memorize 247 letters of the Tamil language, and then you're good. There is no spelling bee competition in Tamil.
Is Schwarzenegger hard to spell?
Because Lord Murugan is the god of our language, and he would not torture his devotees by doing spelling bee competitions. That should not be a thing in language.
Your word is urophiliac.
So in Tamil, it's pronounced as Vedalam, not as Vitala. I'm not sure how it's pronounced in Hindi or Malayalam or Telugu.
I don't know, and I don't know.
So I got to know the Vedalam in the famous Vikramadityan story. But the Vedalam and Vikramadityan bit is just a short bit in the whole Vikramadityan story, by the way. There's a lot of other stuff that happens in that story. That's just a short bit, but that's the most famous bit. And I knew about the story because my mom, and also there was cartoons about it. But this does not fall under Hindu mythology. This is more like Hindu folklore. And also the story is highly regarded Indian literature. So like the mythology guy said, the Vikramadityan was sent to capture Vedalam, and the Vedalam made a deal with him that he would tell him a story on the way back. But the thing is that if Vikramadityan talks, the Vedalam would go back to the tree. The deal is that you can only listen to the story, you cannot talk about it or talk in general.
What if I'm really quiet? Does that count? What about now? What if I'm this quiet? No one will even know I'm talking.
Sorry, no, not a word.
But the thing is that the Vedalam would tell him a really good story. One is very complex, has conflicting morals, rich in character, and he would tell him this great story and ask him a question or a riddle about the story. It usually has to do something about the philosophical take of the story, the moral of the story, or some character's decisions, or opinion about the story in general. And the thing is, Vikramaditya is not supposed to talk, and if he does, the Vedalam would say, well, that's a great answer or a great take on the story, but you talked, so see ya! Beep beep! And it would go back to the tree that it was hanging from in the first place. They do this Tom and Jerry bit for a while, but whenever Vikramadityan's you know what, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to answer your question. The Vedalam would threaten Vikramadityan by saying that if you don't answer my question or riddle, your head will explode. That's the thing that the Vedalam would say to Vikramadityan. I always kind of thought it may be a metaphor, because when you saw or read a good story that you really want to talk about it, and then when someone asks you a question or opinion about the story, you want to say something, and if you don't say it, your head will explode. Maybe it was a metaphor for that.
I thought it was a more elegant metaphor.
But it's not. In this story, he's literally threatening him that his head would explode if he doesn't answer his question or riddle. So, again, he's not playing fair.
Drop the weapon and put your hands on your head.
I warned it.
The reason why he's doing this, well, the thing is that the Vedalam is trying to teach Vikramadityan lessons through these stories. And also, he's judging Vikramadityan's, moral character, his honor, that sort of thing. He's really develops a friendship with the Vikramadityan after they end this whole charade. Because in the end, the Vedalam does reveal that the Munivar who sent Vikramadityan to capture the Vedalam is a bad guy who's trying to do sacrifice. Then the Vikramadityan and Vedalam teamed up and they defeated the evil Munivar guy. I don't remember his name.
I can't remember his name.
Fleckman?
So monster categories is not something really talked about in school, in Hinduism studies either. We do talk about asuras, who are the specific villains in Hindu stories, but other than that, we don't really focus on like type of monsters like the Vedalam and stuff. Of course, the Vedalam is the most famous of the folklore monsters that we all became aware of through the Vikramadityan story. And I don't think he's meant to be a vampire type of monster. I think the Vedalam is more of a wraith or a trickster genie-like thing. You have a specific word for a vampire, and that is called, in Tamil it is Kateri. So the Vedalam is not a Kateri. It's not a blood-sucking vampire.
Not a vampire moment.
So whether it's the Vedalam is a good or bad thing, whether it's a child murderer or stuff like that, that depends, because the only Vedalam that is widely known is the Vedalam from Vikramadityan story, and it is certainly not depicted as an evil being. It is depicted as a trickster who does teach you lessons by doing cruel tricks. So if a child had died, that's because the Vedalam was trying to teach him a lesson.
Are you here to teach me or to kill me?
Even if it's malevolent, it won't be considered as a vampire. That would be a Kateri. It would be considered as something like a wraith. But it does, you know, possess corpses and hangs upside down from trees. Specifically Murugan trees, I think, Murugan Maram, which I don't know the translation for in English. I'm not a botanist.
I don't know, types of trees.
So that brings us to the end of Hindu Guy Reacts to Mythology Guy Part 3. Once again, thank you to Mythology Guy for commenting and sharing my previous React videos. And once again, I had so much fun doing this one as well. The sketches were entertaining, informative, and most of all, hella funny.
Approved!
So don't forget to check out Mythology Guy's channel. There's a tagged link in the title. If you click that, this will take you to his channel. He has some great sketches about all mythologies. I highly recommend them. They are great. So go check him out, give him a subscribe, and also like this video, subscribe to the channel to see more stuff like this. And if you like this one, check out my other previous Hindu Guy React videos. If you like this one, you'll like them too. And I will see you all in the next video. That's all, folks.
புறப்படுகிறேன் என் இருப்பிடத்திற்கு